Welcome to the Tyco Electronics Fosc400 fiber optic splice closure training video. This video will provide an overview of how to install our Fosc400 butt-style fiber optic splice closures. Fosc400 fiber optic splice closures are available in 4 sizes: A, B, C, and D, with multiple styles in some sizes. For the purpose of this training video, we will use the newest closure, the Fosc400C. Fosc400 closures use heat gun activated heat shrink seals and moisture blocking components when required to seal the cables entering the closure. For the dome to base seal, a mechanical clamp and O-ring are used. These design features allow quick and easy installations for a wide range of applications: direct buried, below grade, above grade, pedestal, and aerial. While the various size closures may differ slightly, all Fosc400 closures use the same basic installation steps. 1. Remove the closure from packaging. 2. Prepare the closure base. 3. Prepare cables and add cable seals. 4. Attach cables to closure base. 5. Store slack and unspliced fibers. Splice and store spliced fibers. 6. Seal cables to closure base. 7. Attach dome to base and test the seal. Let's get started with our installation. The closure will arrive in a pre-assembled state that will require removing the clamp and separating the base and dome. Flex the clamp lever arm to unlatch it from the clamp. Swing the lever arm open and, using the arm feet, pry the clamp open. Then, open the clamp and remove it from the base and dome. Fosc400 bases contain an oval port along with the various numbers of round ports. The oval port is for use when a feed-through cable is installed, so as to allow the cable to feed into the base without overbending. To begin the installation, mount the closure in the Fosc400 workstand or similar device. Open the appropriate cable port based on the number of cables to be installed. We recommend preheating the ports slightly to soften the material. Then cutting off the end of the ports at the neck-down ridge with a sharp object such as a utility knife or a hacksaw. Remove any burrs or sharp edges from the port to prevent damage to the heat shrink components. Using typical cable preparation techniques, prep the cables to the dimensions described in the installation instructions. Where cable blocking is required, moisture blocking kits are available either separately or with the closure. When using loose buffer tube style cables, center the reverse point where possible to allow easy separation and routing of the fiber tubes. Note that depending upon the type of cable to be sliced, whether loose buffer tube or ribbon central core tube cable, the steps will vary slightly. The installation instructions provide plenty of detail regarding prep lengths, etc. for your specific cable type. Prior to the remaining installation steps, it is critical that the next step be to place the tubular port seals, followed by the closure base, onto the cables. Making sure the arrow on the seal is pointing toward the closure base, slide a cable port seal over the cable or cables before inserting the cables into the open base ports. It's important that the arrow on the seal be pointing toward the new base, as this helps to hold the seal in position during the heat shrink process. Next, place the cable into the selected open base port. For large fiber count loose buffer tube cables, it may be helpful to install only a portion of the buffer tubes at a time. Note that Tyco Electronics also supplies wraparound style cable seals as well. Available in accessory kits, These can be used when the tubular seal was not installed properly or when it's necessary to add a cable to an occupied port. Slide the cables into position and attach the strength members from each cable to the metal tower bracket using the square washers. FOSC400 bases are available with or without feed-through grounds. If no feed-through ground is available, ground wires may be installed through a cable port using the appropriate accessory kit. Where grounding is required, attach the ground wires to the cables and to the feed-through grounds. For loose buffer tube cable, if no slack storage is required, route loose buffer tubes directly to the tray and secure them in place with tie wraps. For slack storage, note that FOSC400 closures incorporate slack storage baskets, both regular and tall versions, as well as a storage sock for storing slack buffer tubes or fiber. Separate the designated buffer tubes to be routed and spliced from the expressed buffer tubes. Store the expressed buffer tubes in the bottom of the basket first, placing the designated buffer tubes on top, allowing easy accessibility in the future. To splice, route, mark, ring cut, and remove the excess buffer tube and clean the fibers per your approved practices. Add loose buffer tube wrap, route, and tie down designated tube to the tray for splicing. Route, splice, and store fibers on tray and install tray cover. The tray can be locked in the up position by using the red kickstand feature. Similarly, for A and B closures, a tray prop is provided. Note, one of the benefits of hinging trays is the ability to route buffer tubes directly to the tray in the event of fiber breakage or insufficient slack is available. Secure tray to basket using Velcro strap. There are several splice trays available for the FOSC400 closures. Each closure has options for both single and ribbon splice trays. Refer to your installation instructions for additional information regarding fiber routing and storage on these trays. Note the single fiber C and D splice trays use horizontally placed splice modules which allow fiber to easily route and store along the outside edge of these trays, while the A and B style FOSC splice trays use vertically oriented modules which may require the fibers to be stored in the ends, edges, or along the center of the tray. Ribbon trays have special splice module orientations to accommodate ribbon fibers bending and stacking requirements. Central core tube ribbon cable preparation is very similar to that of loose buffer tube cable. For storing ribbon slack, we recommend the use of the slack storage basket. If no slack storage is present, see the closure installation instructions for further detail. Secure the strength members and core tubes to the sides or bottom of the slack basket with tie wraps. Note that fibers can be routed to the trays using large transportation tube or spiral wrap.